Sue Tabb and David O'Leary here with Magic 106.7. We are teaming up with Century Bank to spread some awareness for some area nonprofits. And we have Joanne Simons, who is the CEO of the Northeast Arc, joining us this morning to tell us a little bit more about her organization. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So tell us a little bit about the mission if people don't know. I think many people are familiar with you, but if they don't know, talk a little bit about your mission.
Well, we change lives. I mean, pretty simply, we support over 9,000 people with intellectual disabilities and autism and other disabilities in 190 communities in Massachusetts, your listening area. That's it. And we have 1,100 talented staff that do that every day, every second of every day, 365 days a week.
I'm assuming are a lot of those people volunteers?
No, those are our paid staff. That doesn't even go close to the number of volunteers we have, which are in the hundreds.
Wow. This is an organization that has been 1954, do I understand?
Yeah, over 60 years.
It was a very different world for people with developmental or intellectual disabilities in 1954 when the organization started.
A very limiting world.
Yeah.
A very limiting world. And I actually have firsthand experience, although I do go back to the 50s personally. I have a son with Down syndrome who's 38 years old. Mm-hmm. And so I came kind of in the middle of that. Mm-hmm. So he was born with Down syndrome and 4 heart defects, and the world was very different even then. But we had come so far even then. And in the 50s, there were brave parents who had decided not to institutionalize their children, which was the current thinking. And imagine that they had to defy doctors and professionals and even their own family members.
Society, that was the track. Put them up on a hill somewhere in a building. Yeah.
Right. And what I love about you guys is you talk about having them live as full members of the community, and that's the way they work and the way they play and their personal
jobs
lives.
And socialize.
So that's a huge realm of how you need to help. So talk about some of the things that you offer.
So that's a great observation. And unlike other nonprofits or organizations where you might come in, your child plays Little League just for a few years and then they graduate to something else. Our families and the individuals that we support are with us from the moment they're diagnosed or born, or remarkably so, even if a family might decide in utero that they are going to continue a pregnancy with Down syndrome, we're there, and we're there throughout their life in the end of life. So at the very beginning, we're providing early intervention services. We're in a family's home. And it doesn't have to be for just children who have like an identified real disability. But if you have a question about your child's speech or your child's mobility or even maybe your child's way that they're picking up toys, we now have programs that we can provide those supports free of charge to families to get that child on the right path. And they'll never need services again. And so we have hundreds of success stories. We actually have people who have graduated from our early intervention program who are now employees of us. Yeah. They've graduated high school, they went to college.
And now working and giving back to other families and other individuals.
They want to give back because they realize that their lives were impacted so positively.
It's just astounding to me that you'll stay with them. So many programs, I feel like once you're 18, you age out, or once you're a certain age, it's sort of like, and then these people are like, now what? Because they've had all of this support. I love that you will stay with the person, the family, throughout life.
And it doesn't mean if they didn't start with us that we won't pick them up at 18 or 22 or 45. You can enter our system at any point where you need support. And we provide everything, as you talked about in terms of employment supports and residential supports and teaching people to live independently. And for those people who need a lot of support, we're there to provide a lot of support. And we also have been doing some really innovative things. We opened a coffee shop about a year ago.
I want to hear about this.
Oh, I heard about that. What's it called?
Called Breaking Grounds.
Yes.
Changing lives, one cup at a time.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I think we just sold our 22,000 cups of coffee this year.
Wow.
And during the summer, we opened up a pop-up version of the store in Marblehead. So.
And it's run entirely by clients?
Well, it's a training up place for clients. Certainly the baristas and the managers are people who are training individuals with disabilities for jobs who've identified an interest in food service. So they'll work there for a few months, get the skills, and then they work in in food service organizations around the community. And the governor likes it. He's been there. He's had a cup of coffee, and the food is great. And we've received a lot of attention, and it's just one of the several businesses that we operate because we're taking a change about how nonprofits should work. Instead of going to communities and say, okay, you need to do this for us, we're going to communities and saying, what is your need? And let's see if your need can meet our mission. So in this example of the coffee shop, the city of Peabody identified that they needed a coffee shop. So we're providing a service to the city of Peabody and helping Main Street in Peabody has become a really exciting, vibrant place. Century Bank is there and a bunch of restaurants, and we're there. And we're also opening a Black Box Theater in downtown Peabody as well, another need that the city wanted to have draw people to the downtown area after 5 o'clock.
I wonder if it also doesn't sort of disabuse people of this notion that your clients are just members of the community and society, just like everybody else. People may not know, but they may not think about it that much, and so there's that.
Well, I think, you know, media has done a great job in helping change public perceptions and attitudes, because we're seeing actors on TV with disabilities. You know, we're seeing it part of storylines. You know, you're interviewing people with disabilities. And I think we're much more aware of the presence of people with disabilities and the gifts that they have, which is really remarkable in terms of the talents that they can bring.
Sounds like you rely a number of staff and a number of volunteers. You rely on the support and
we couldn't do our work. You
volunteers.
couldn't be in 190 communities with just 1,100 staff.
Yeah.
You really need some really incredible volunteers. And our volunteers sometimes are as young as high school students and people who are retired and executives who want to give back.
How do you get your funding?
Well, it's a very, very complicated, probably funding stream, but in addition to charitable contributions and volunteers from individuals and foundations, we receive tremendous support from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, third-party reimbursement, and from Medicaid. But those are all sources of funding which are in jeopardy every day, and we have to keep an eye on what's the state revenues or what's federal policy in Washington. So having a good core of committed volunteers who are donors is wonderful, and we were very lucky this year. We got our first, we got $1 million gift from a Marblehead businessman. Thank you very much.
Wow.
So that was Stephen Rosenthal gave us $1 million, and we did something really exciting with it. We established the Changing Lives Fund, and from the Changing Lives Fund, we just conducted a couple days ago, in conjunction with the John F. Kennedy Library Foundation, the Ark Tank, modeled after the Shark Tank, and we got 100 proposals from all over the world to disrupt the service system for people with disabilities, and we gave away $200,000. And if you think about that, what charity gives away money that they've been donated?
Right. I love the concept.
The reason is that we are not better alone. We're only better if the whole field rises with us. And the monetization of that $200,000 that we gave out,
It's going to do so much.
coming back, and it's going to come back to us personally trifold. It's like, every religious group has a saying about, when you give what you give away, it comes back to you. I have no question that Steve's donation, but it was really the courage of our board of directors to say,
To do it a little differently.
Let's disrupt not only the system for services, but let's disrupt the way philanthropy is looked upon.
Right. And the collaboration piece is something that many organizations are afraid of, or they're just not open to.
And we got 100 proposals, 3 were awarded, and they're, ironically, even though we had submissions from all over the country in 3 foreign countries, they happen to all be from Massachusetts, ironically. So.
It must be so satisfying, not even just for you personally, but for anybody who works, for the Northeast Arc. It must be so satisfying to see these individuals with whatever disabilities they have come in and then watch them evolve. And because I'm imagining they may come in and feel like they can't do certain things, or that people have a certain perception of them, and then they evolve into like they have jobs and they feel valued and they feel like every other member of society. That must be extremely satisfying.
I think it's addicting for people, and that's why we have people who've spent their entire career in this industry, is because when you can change a life, it's as if you've changed, there's as a Talmudic saying that says, if you saved one life, you've changed the world.
Yeah.
Well, we get to change lives every single day, and our staff at every level see it. Nobody who works for the Northeast Arc works in a building where they don't see the people we support. We don't have an administrative office. We share the same bathrooms. We share the same lunchrooms.
So you can see it
one
and
big
feel it
happy
and
family.
touch it.
And we teach people how to go out and order in a restaurant. We teach people how to, how to ride bikes. We have programs that help people deal with bullying, which is, sort of bullying is a big issue for everybody, but imagine being a young kid with autism, makes it on your high school football team. the culture there is not conducive. And so we recently learned of a young man that we support that, you know, found himself on the football team on the verge of quitting, and instead of quitting, we put together 3 young men also who have experienced bullying and taught them the strategies to be able to be resilient, so he stayed on the football team.
And maybe did a favor for some of these other kids on the team to educate them a little bit
Right.
as well.
And you know what we do for families, you know, is and anybody who's a parent know that you're only as happy as your most miserable child.
Child, yes.
And
yes.
so we want to make sure that our children are happy, so our families can be happy.
Yeah.
Anything big on the horizon that you can share with us that's coming soon?
Well, the Ark Tank was 2 days ago.
So you're like still
Revel in
recovering
that
from
success.
We'll get, but we're, you know, we have a wonderful. We do a great gala every spring, and we do a wonderful gala, and we use celebrities, and so you might get called upon to model with the people that we support, and so it's a wonderful demonstration of our
David's
mission.
available. Look at him.
You need to raise the bar a little bit for celebrities, but
And
celebrities.
it's amazing because the people who come, and you know the galas, sometimes you just want to, like, you know, is this another gala, and everybody's doing it because it's a way to raise money, but it's, you know, you're asking a lot for people to give out a few hours of their day. So, and you want the mission to be front and center. So we have everything from our kids in early intervention who are under 3, all the way to our older folks, walking with what we call our celebrities, and of course you're both of our local celebrities.
Nice.
Oh, that is so neat. Now, when is that? Do you know
I
have a
think
date yet?
I do have a date. I think it's May 3rd, but
people can go
here on our
online
website,
and
and we're
find out.
honoring Larry Zabar of the New England Council,
Oh, nice.
and we it will be a fabulous. And Chris McKenzie is the chair of the event, and he's with RSM. So
Yeah, that's
Pretty exciting.
fabulous. So if people want to find out more, ne-arc.org. Yes,
That's right.
They can donate, they can volunteer, they can
And
attend the gala.
and they can Google the Ark Tank and hear about the amazing things we're doing, and get ready with their own ideas for 2018 because we're doing it again.
Oh, so this was just the first.
This is the first of
what will
several
now be an
because-
annual.
Well,
That's
as long as we
awesome.
continue to have the money, we know we have the money for a few years, but we hope
Good.
that other people will be inspired by this philanthropy.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Joanne Simons, who's the CEO of the Northeast Arc. Thank you so much. Thank you to Century Bank. Great to have you.